if you're a Minnesota Republican, your party and your legislators are screwing you over. The definition of insanity, I hear this all the time in politics. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And yet that's exactly what they're doing. So last night there was an important vote that took place in the Minnesota GOP with the exec council. And that's like the party heads and all the congressional district chairs. And there was a motion that was brought forth by Lloyd Cheney of Congressional District 2 to get rid of the affiliate status of the HRCC. So that's the House Republican Caucus's campaign committee. So let me give you a little background on how this works out. There are registered political party units by the Campaign Finance Board of Minnesota, and they have the ability to give candidates $10,000 in cash. They can spend money in independent expenditures and in support of these candidates. There can only be one affiliate at the Minnesota House and one affiliate at the Minnesota Senate per party. So, of course, the House Republican Caucus, or the HRCC, has that affiliate status with the party. Now, what the HRCC has been doing over the last couple of years is they have been working against endorsed candidates. They worked against Cal Barr in 2016. They worked against Eric Mortensen in 2018, both the more conservative candidates, and they worked against these endorsed candidates. They also work in other channels against guys like, in the case of Jeremy Munson, who won the special election last February. They use staff resources to help out his opponent. In fact, their people, the HRCC's people, recruited his primary challenger. So they're working against the grassroots conservatives and working against the party. The HRCC also made a story lately about not being able to properly report their expenditures and their receipts. So the Campaign Finance Board has these annual reports, and you have to properly account for all expenditures and receipts. And of course, that's obvious you have to do that, because if you don't account for those expenditures and receipts, you could get away with funny business. And the HRCC hasn't been doing that for 5 years straight. And this was noticed by the Campaign Finance Board many years ago when they asked for a balance adjustment. Now, in charge of the HRCC is Kurt Doubt, who's the minority leader, who's voted in as minority leader overwhelmingly by your Republican legislators. So despite losing the Minnesota House in this massive blue wave, Republican legislators, your Republican legislators, actually said he still should be the guy in charge, which is absolutely beyond me why anyone would think that. And New is the assistant minority leader, also the treasurer of the HRCC campaign account. So they either can't manage a financial account or they're doing something under the table. I don't know. I have no idea. I got no proof. What I will tell you, in the case of Jeremy Munson's race, Scott Sanders retired with $20,000 debt. That's his primary challenger. He's a rural farmer. He retired his campaign account for a 1-month campaign. He retired that with $20,000 of personal debt. So if you don't think it's a big deal that the HRCC isn't reporting receipts and expenditures properly, I must ask this question. Did Scott Sanders get his debt forgiven? And we'll never know, because we don't know how those funds were appropriated. It's a big deal when you don't report accurately reports or receipts and expenditures. It allows that kind of funny business to take place. So last night there was a very important vote. It was to remove the affiliate status of the HRCC, and because 4 legislators in the Republican, they were in the Republican caucus, broke free from the Republican caucus and formed the new House Republican caucus, the party could actually give that status to a different body. Well, there was a long discussion, a long meeting. I knew people that were in that room, so I heard firsthand how it went down. And a bunch of legislators showed up, You've got people like Peggy Scott, Jerry Hertas, Dan Fabian, Tony Albright, Josh Heintzman showed up. I believe all of them were trying to support the affiliate status of HRCC. If they're your legislator, they're allowing this bad behavior to take place, this corruption going against the grassroots folks. You also had Munson, who is in the new House Republican caucus, Tim Miller, maybe Cal Barr were there. They would have been the beneficiaries of this change. And quite frankly, it's just common sense to say, listen, if the HRCC is so bad, why don't we get rid of their affiliate status and give it to this new House Republican caucus, which is by far more conservative. So Lloyd Cheney puts forward this motion, and I guess they had 2 or 3 hours of discussion on it. In attendance also is Brad Ganser, Vince Baudette, people who have been wronged by the HRCC as endorsed Republican candidates, conservative endorsed Republican candidates. And then you got cronies like Ben Golnick that show up trying to save face with the exec council at the party. And the vote goes down after hours of discussion, and only 2 people vote yay. Lloyd Cheney and I think Frank Long. Everyone else on the exec council is 15 people, all voted to keep the affiliate status of the HRCC. So in other words, they're keeping this corrupt body of politics together to just keep doing the same thing that they've been doing. And mind you, this is like the perfect time to change things and to mix things up inside the party, because the November 2020 election is far away. No one's going to remember this at that point. It gives plenty of time for the new House Republican caucus to raise money and spend it on Republicans, which they would clearly do. They just wouldn't go up against the party endorsements, and they would share data with the party. So it's a very common sense move to change the status. Most people don't understand it. I know it's confusing. So let me just break it down so simple. If you have one political party unit that is corrupt and working against the party's endorsed candidates, it makes sense to get rid of that affiliate status and give it to another option, because we actually have another option. And your party, Jennifer Carnahan, Dave Pasco, everyone else that's in power, congressional district chairs, the treasurer, the secretary, the committeemen and committeewoman, all failed you last night. They all failed you. And so I'm sure I'm going to hear one of them talk about what the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But you can only imagine that they are the living, breathing representation of insanity. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to continue on the same process that's failed, it's not working, that's corrupt. And then let's imagine, in the best case scenario, Republicans take back over the House in 2020. Well, guess what? When they were in charge the last 4 years, government grew, debt grew, regulations on business expanded. We passed horrible things like Real ID. It's going to be the same old thing. And conservative Republican activists in the state are the ones going to pay for it.